Welcome to Grace City Church. We're so glad that you are here with us as we wrap up our series, Glad You Asked. Have you enjoyed this series? Cool, 3 people. I was expecting a little bit of better response than that. I had some people tell me that they're kind of sad that the series is ending because they've enjoyed it so much. They didn't go to this service, obviously, but maybe they'll be in one of our other services, and they're kind of bummed that the series is ending. And although it is ending on Sunday, I'm actually going to keep it going every single Wednesday on my YouTube channel. And so I'm going to continue to answer your questions like this. Last Wednesday, we answered the question, is it a sin to drink alcohol? And this is one of my top performing videos that I've ever made. I'm like diving deep, answering the top theological arguments and questions that atheists and people who don't believe in God have used to stump Christians for generations. 100 views, right? Like nobody's watching these things but me 100 times over and over again. And then I do one, is it a sin to drink alcohol? Like views through the roof. Y'all just wanted the green light. That's all y'all want is like somebody tell me it's okay. So I answered that one on Wednesday, but I would encourage you to check that out. And this coming Wednesday, I'm dealing with the subject of unanswered prayer. In August, we did a prayer focus and, our Big Ask prayer series. And we saw so many incredible, miraculous answers to prayer. But there were people who prayed prayers that didn't get answered. And so they're wondering, how come God didn't answer my prayer? How come he answered their request, but not mine? And so I'm going to tackle the subject of unanswered prayer on Wednesday. We're just going to kind of keep the questions going. I'm not going to talk about it every Sunday. That's it for the YouTube channel, but go ahead and check it out. Just search my name on YouTube and that'll pull up. But we are going to wrap up our series today by answering the number one most requested topic. Now this topic was like the hands down most requested topic. It was almost twice as much as any other subject. And so the number one thing that you wanted to hear about from our survey was, how do I handle stress? How to handle stress. We got some stressed out people in this church. And I'm not surprised by that because according to research, 89% of Americans suffer from chronic stress. 77% of people experience stress that affects their physical health, and 73% of people have stress that impacts their mental health, and 48% of people have trouble sleeping because of stress. Stress does not discriminate. It will seek you out if you are old, and it will find you if you are young. It'll track you down if you are rich, and it will find you if you are poor, right? Everyone, regardless of the season or stage of life that they are in, is vulnerable to stress. The student is stressed about the test they got coming up, and the teacher is stressed about having to grade all of these tests. One person is stressed because they can't stand their job, while another person is stressed because they can't find a job. One person is stressing over the wedding while another person is stressing over the divorce. One person is stressing because they can't find a house, and another person is stressing because they can't afford the house they got. Someone is stressed because they want kids, but they can't have them, and someone else is stressed because they don't want the kids they got. Right? Everyone, regardless of the season or stage of life they find themselves in, is vulnerable to stress. And if stress is not managed properly, it will wreak havoc in your life. According to an article in the Wall Street Journal, stress is responsible for taking more lives than smoking, drinking, and not exercising combined. That's why I don't even exercise. It's like, why not? I'm just going to be chill. I'm just ain't going to stress. And I'm not going to exercise. And I'm going to live way longer than everybody else who's doing CrossFit. Praise God for that. That's how I interpret the data. The University of London said that stress is 6 times more predictive of cancer and heart disease than cigarette smoking, high cholesterol levels, and elevated blood pressure. And according to WebMD, 75 to 90% of all doctor's office visits are for stress-related ailments and complaints. Right? Stress can play a part in causing problems such as headaches, high blood pressure, heart problems, diabetes, skin conditions, asthma, arthritis, depression, and anxiety. The majority of people, including the majority of Christians, are emotionally fatigued, physically drained, and spiritually defeated by stress. Which brings the question, what are we so stressed about? For starters, I think uncertainty. Right? Whenever our future is up in the air, we're not really sure how things are going to turn out. It causes stress. And if there's anything we've experienced over the last 2 years, there's been a lot of uncertainty. Conflict in relationships causes stress. Come on, you married people know what I'm talking about, right? Whenever you get in a disagreement, there's a fight that you have with your spouse and it doesn't get resolved, right? Everyone gets quiet and you just stop talking to each other. And 2-3 days go by, you're not saying a word to each other unless you absolutely have to. You picking up the kids, right? Come on. How many of you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, and it's awkward because it's not like you live in some mansion where you never have to see each other. You're in a 1,400 square foot home, right? You're walking down the hallway like, not talking to that person. It's awkward, right? Come on, I ain't got no real people in this church. Y'all act like you ain't never gotten a spouse. There's one person that was like, man, I ain't talked to my wife in a week, right? Just going, I'm like, man, y'all need to resolve that conflict, man. We going into weeks over here, right? Another one is work, right? There was a company that noticed that morale was really low. And it's a pretty large company, and so they hired a consultant to come in and try to figure out why morale was so low. And so a consultant came in, and he discovered that 21 of the 22 executives in this company were experiencing such high levels of stress that it was causing problems like ulcers, high blood pressure, and depression, right? And so also just the busyness of life causes stress, right? Just the busyness of life that we get into, right? The days aren't long enough. The nights are too short. There's too much to do and not enough time to get it all done. And then if you have kids, boy, it only adds to the stress, right? Especially if you got a toddler, right? Toddlers, man, they're a whole nother ball game, right? Like we got a 6-month-old baby at our house and a toddler. The baby, feed him, change his diaper, he's good. The toddler, not so much. 40 times a day, he makes an attempt on his life with no warning. Right? Sitting on the couch, watching Cocomelon 1 minute, the next minute, he's standing on top of the couch doing a trust fall off the back of it. Nobody's there to catch him, All right, 1 minute he's playing Legos, the next minute he's trying to stick his tongue in the light socket, trying to taste electricity. I'm like, bro, stop it. You don't want to taste that, all right? It's gonna hurt, right? I go to the bathroom for 60 seconds. 60 seconds, I come back out, he's eating dirt out of the planter. And I have no idea how much he's consumed, right? And if your toddler has put something in their mouth that they're not supposed to put in their mouth, good luck trying to get it out. The fastest land mammal on the planet is a toddler that's been asked, what's in your mouth? Right? I'm running after this kid like I'm chasing Usain Bolt around the house. There's no way I'm gonna catch this kid, right? Like kids will stress you out. Another source of stress, in fact, the number one source of stress though, according to research, is money. According to the American Psychological Association, money is the top cause of stress in the United States. See, stress is the gap between the demands that are placed on us and our ability to meet those demands. And so whenever there is a gap between the demands that are placed on us and our ability to meet those demands, it creates stress. And the bigger the gap, the more stress that you experience. And whenever we experience stress for a consistent and extended period of time, we look for a door to try and escape the pressure that we are experiencing. We look for a door to try and escape the stress that we are under. How many of you have ever been to an escape room? Any breakout room, escape room, any ever been to one? If you've never been to one, it's basically a place where you go and you pay people to kidnap you and lock you in a room. And once in this room, you have to try and solve all these clues to get out of the room. And I like to think of myself as a pretty intelligent person. I like to think that I'm fairly smart. I have never felt dumber than when I was in an escape room, right? Like I can't solve any of the clues. Meanwhile, my friend with absolutely zero higher education whatsoever suddenly becomes a genius when he's put into this room. He's like, the insignia written on the papyrus fits perfectly with the encryption code on the glass if you turn it 45 degrees. I'm like, what? Like, bro, you barely made it through high school and now you're Sherlock friggin' Holmes when you're put inside this room. Like, I don't get it, right? He's like, there's a letter on each wall, and using gematria, we can find the combination to the box to unlock the code and get out of this room in record time. And I'm just stumped. I'm like, this is the same guy that would not drink carbonated water because it said he had too many carbs. Like carbonation, carbohydrates, they're not the same thing. Put this guy in a breakout room, he suddenly becomes a genius. But whenever we feel stress, right, we need a way to escape the pressure. And so we look for a door to escape the pressure. When the weight of the stress becomes more than we can bear, we look for a door to escape. And the door that the majority of people go through is the door of self-indulgence. Right? Self-indulgence is the door that we run to escape the pressures of life. See, self-indulgence is excessive or unrestrained gratification of one's own appetites, desires, or whims. All right, so this is the door that we go to escape the pressures of life. Now, for some people, it looks like food, right? And so whenever you're stressed, you eat, right? You've all heard the phrase, right? Eat your feelings, right? You're not feeding your body, you are feeding your feelings. When you get stressed, you go to food, and it's never broccoli, right? It's not health food. You're not like, man, I'm stressed, I need a kale salad. No, you go to junk food, right? And so you make promises to eat better and to, do all these things, and you do good until you get stressed. And whenever you get stressed, you start making really poor decisions when it comes to food. For others, it's alcohol. In 2020, alcohol sales went up 50%. Right? Our way of dealing with the stress of the pandemic was to drink. And for many people, this starts out as, a glass of wine every once in a while, and then it becomes an alcoholic beverage every single day when you get off work. And then you find yourself thinking, man, I can't wait till it's 5 o'clock so that I can have a drink. And then 1 turns into 2, which turns into 3, and before you know it, you have a glass in your hand from the time you get home from work till when you fall asleep at night. So for some people, it's alcohol. For others, it's sexual immorality. Now, sexual immorality is the word that the Bible uses to encompass all forms of sexual sin outside the covenant of marriage that God designed. And so for some people, it's, casual sex, it's hookups. For other people, it's pornography. And for others, it's, adultery. All right. And so whenever you're stressed, you turn to pornography for relief. Or maybe, you're experiencing stress at work. There's conflict at the house. And so you find comfort in the companionship of somebody else at work. And what starts off as an innocent conversation eventually leads to more, right? And so sexual immorality is one. For others, we won't be so heavy on this one, but we'll go to shopping right here. Come on, shopping. There you go, shopping, right? Come on, Amazon therapy. Yeah, one person raised their hand. Yeah, of course, I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the kind of people that when they show up at their house after work, there are brown boxes stacked up by their door, and they have no idea what's in those boxes because they order so much stuff they can't keep track of it all in their mind. Not you, but other people, right? The second service, right? All right, maybe for you, it's not Amazon, it's Target therapy or Walmart therapy. Okay, nobody goes to Walmart for stress therapy. You need stress therapy after going to Walmart. You're just like, oh, it's so stressful. I'm just gonna go walk around Target and just, right? You turn to shopping, all right? Maybe for others, it's binge watching, right? This word binge watching was added to the dictionary in 2017. So this refers to watching, multiple episodes of a show, right? You don't just watch one episode, right? You watch one and then another and then another. According to research, 73% of Americans binge watch videos on streaming platforms. 73%. Of that 73%, 90% are millennials, which shows you that this is kind of the direction that we're moving as a society. And of those 73% who binge watch, 38% do it every single week. So every week they sit in front of a television and watch episode after episode after episode and then complain because they are so stressed and they don't have enough time to get it all done, right? Okay, for other people, it's not binge watching. It's binge scrolling, right? It's social media, right? Okay, there's a research report. There's a study that was done in January of this year that found that the average person spends 2 hours and 27 minutes a day on social media platforms. Across all social media platforms, 2 hours and 27 minutes. This is the primary way that we escape stress, right? We just scroll. And we scroll endlessly. In fact, there's a new feature they have on certain apps, like you can put on Instagram, you can put a time limit. And so I just dare you, just put a 10-minute time limit across all of your social media platforms, all right? And you will realize how much you spend on it. That timer will go off before you even leave your house for work, right? And so you can ignore it if you want to and keep watching, but it'll let you know just how much you actually watch. But this is the primary way that we escape stress. The problem is that it doesn't actually reduce our stress, it actually increases it. In fact, in the Journal of Affective Disorders, research found that the more time people spend using social media, the more anxiety symptoms they report, and the more likely they are to experience an anxiety disorder. So they can look at you and just look at how much time you spend on social media, and they can predict with pinpoint accuracy whether or not you will struggle with anxiety or have an actual anxiety disorder. Because it doesn't reduce our stress, it actually increases it. Others turn to drugs, painkillers, online gambling, nicotine, video games, or any other number of addictive behaviors or flat out sinful choices in search of relief from the pressures of life. But self-indulgence is the door that we run to escape the stress that we experience. The problem is that self-indulgence leads to self-destruction. 1 Timothy 5:6, this verse is specifically addressing women, but of course it applies to men. It says that she who lives in pleasure and self-gratification, giving herself up to luxury and self-indulgence, is dead even while she still lives. Right? Self-indulgence kills you from the inside out. Every time you run to this door, it slowly drains the life out of you. How many of you like scary movies? Do we have any people here who like scary movies? Wow, all right, I didn't think this many hands were gonna go up. I don't understand why people watch scary movies. Like, I watch movies like to escape stress. Scary movies only add to the stress. They only increase it, and that stress is compounded by the fact that people in scary movies make the absolute dumbest decisions, right? If the house is haunted, put it up on the market and let it be somebody else's problems. Move your family out of there, right? If I'm in a scary movie, it's over in 5 minutes, right? We sell the house, we're letting go. I don't care, I already put a down payment on it. Doesn't matter, I'm out of here, right? They just make the dumbest decisions. In fact, Geico even made a commercial. Yeah, some of y'all seen this commercial, making fun of people in scary movies. Let's check out this Geico commercial.
Let's hide in the attic.
No, in the basement. Why can't we just get in the running car?
Are you crazy? Let's hide behind the chainsaws.
Smart. Yeah.
If you're in a horror movie, you make poor decisions. That's what you do.
This is a good idea. Shh, I'm being quiet. Breathing on me.
If you want to save 15% or more on car insurance, you switch to Geico.
Why can't we go in the running car? No, the wall of chainsaws. When you're in a scary movie, you make poor decisions. It's what you do. And the same thing happens when we're stressed. When we're stressed, we make poor decisions. It's what we do. When we're stressed, we run to the door of self-indulgence over and over again, even though it doesn't reduce our stress. It just postpones it and actually increases it while slowly draining the life out of us at the same time. This is the equivalent to running behind a wall of chainsaws in a scary movie. It does not help whatsoever. So where can we go? How can we experience the strength that we need to escape the stress and pressure of life? Isaiah 40:28 says, have you not known, have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. You know, kids have more energy than anyone else on the planet. When I lived in Las Vegas, I worked for the Parks and Recs department, and my job was running after school and rec programs for about 60 kids. And my friend used to make fun of me all the time. He was like, dude, you got the easiest job in the world. You just play dodgeball all day with kids, and when you're tired of dodgeball, you have snack time, you know? And I'm like, bro, you have no idea. Keeping up with these kids is exhausting. And anybody who's ever worked with kids knows that our teachers don't make nearly enough money. They are some of the most underpaid people. Cops and teachers are the most underpaid people in society, right? One are dealing with these kids, other dealing with all these people and their dumb decisions, right? They're both them people, they need to get more money. And so I had a friend of mine that he ended up needing to get a job. And I was like, man, I can get you a job at the rec center. We're always hiring there because we just go through people like left and right. And so he's like, okay, easiest job ever, I'll do it. So he gets a job and he's only working half a day, right? Just 4 hours, right? He worked from 1 to 5. I'm there all day. He works a 4-hour shift. We're supposed to meet up later that evening at a place and he's not there. And so I call him. He's like, hello. I was like, bro, where are you at? We're supposed to meet up. He's like, dude, I fell asleep. I was like, why are you sleeping? It's 8 o'clock. He goes, man, those kids wore me out, right? Kids have so much energy. Keeping up with them is exhausting, right? But eventually kids get tired. Eventually kids wear themselves out. And as a parent, when your kids wear themselves out and fall asleep early, you feel like you have won the lottery, right? It's like, it is 7:30 and they're asleep. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. What can we do? We can go to bed right now is what we can do, right? And you just go to bed. You feel like somebody's just giving you $1 million, right? But Isaiah says that even young kids will be faint and grow weary, and young men will fall exhausted. See, young men are known for their strength and their energy, right? Like there were things that I could do as a young man, as a teenager, that if I tried to do now would land me in the ER. Right? Like when I was younger, I would jump over cars. And so it started off, I'll just, hey, can you jump over the hood of this car? I was like, I think I can make it. And so, I'd jump over the hood of one car, and then it moved over to jumping over the cabin. And in my prime, I could jump over the cabin of a mid-sized sedan. Y'all don't even believe me. Is it because I'm white? That is. Y'all judging me because I'm white. Look, some white people can jump. I was one of the few, okay? Nobody believed me when I said that. Ask my brother, the worship leader up here. He saw me. He was out there, the only eyewitness. He saw me. First time I didn't make it. All right, I ran right into the side of it. Second time I made it over there. If I tried to do that now, I would be in the hospital. I would go straight through the window, right? If I tried to do that now, because there are things that young men can do that old men can't. But even young men, They run out of strength. Even people in the prime of their life become exhausted, but God never gets tired. He never gets exhausted. His strength is limitless. See, every one of us, we will hit a wall physically, emotionally, mentally, because we have limited time, limited patience, limited energy, and limited strength, but we serve a limitless God who never gets tired or grows weary. His strength is inexhaustible, and he wants to give it to you. It says he gives power to the faint, and to those who have no might, he increases their strength, right? So how do we get this strength from God to handle the stress and pressures of life? Verse 31, but they who wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And so God promises to renew our strength, but the promise of strength has a stipulation. You must wait upon the Lord. Those who wait upon the Lord will renew their strength. Notice it doesn't say that those who wait upon the Lord will have their struggles removed. Right? God does not always respond to us by eliminating our stress. No, instead he renews our strength. He doesn't reduce the problem. He increases our strength as we wait upon him. So what does it mean to wait upon the Lord? Because waiting is not inactivity. It's not passivity. It's not sitting around doing nothing. In fact, the Hebrew word for wait, it means to look for, to hope, to expect, to linger, and bind together. You know, when I lived in Las Vegas, I rode the bus to work. And if you've ever rode the bus anywhere, you know, you don't just sit and wait for the bus, right? No, you get up and you're looking down the street like, when's that bus coming? Is it coming on time? Like you are expectant, you are eager, you are looking for that bus so that you can get to work on time. And that's what it means to wait upon the Lord. It means that we look to him, that we are eagerly and expectant to receive from him. But this word also means to linger. You know, whenever we have small groups, and, you know, I've led multiple small groups, you know, every semester we have a small group, and I've noticed that it's always the same people who are the last to leave every small group, right? Like it's never like a different person each week. No, it's the same group of people every single week that are the last to leave small group, right? They just linger, right? They don't want to go home. They want to stay. They want to hang out. And it's always the extroverts, right? They don't want to go home. Like they just want to hang out and be around people. It's always the same people every single week that are the last to leave because they want to linger. And so when you wait upon the Lord, that means that you linger in his presence, that you don't want to leave. You want to stay in his presence. You want to spend as much time with him as you possibly can. But that word wait also means to bind together. And I believe this refers to what happens as you wait upon the Lord. So when you look to him for strength, when you don't rely on your own ability, but you put your hope and your trust in him, when you linger in his presence, you become bound together with God. Let me illustrate that again. Got another illustration, all illustrations here today, but I got a piece of rope here. And this rope has a limited amount of strength. If I pull hard enough on this rope, eventually it's gonna break. All right, gotta muscle up on it. Oh, there we go. I can jump over cars, but I can't break this weak rope, all right? Right, so eventually if I pull hard enough on this thing, it is going to break. It has a limited amount of strength. And this rope represents our strength, right? When enough pressure is applied, eventually, right, we snap. But this rope right here represents God's strength. And no matter how hard I pull on this thing, it will not break. And so when you wait upon the Lord, it says that you bind together with him. So as you wait upon God, you begin to bind, you begin to wrap yourselves around him. When you linger in his presence, your weakness gets wrapped around his strength. When you wait upon the Lord, your weakness gets swallowed up in his strength so that your strength becomes his strength and his strength becomes your strength. This is exactly what it means to wait upon the Lord. That's why it says those who wait upon the Lord, they will renew their strength. That word renew means to exchange. So when you wait upon the Lord, you exchange your weakness for his strength. And there are three things that Isaiah says will happen when you wait upon the Lord. The first one is you'll be able to fly in the face of adversity, right? He says you'll mount up with the wings like eagles. You know, eagles, whenever they encounter a storm, they don't flap their wings and try to fly through it. No, they simply tilt their wings at just the right angle. And so when the winds of that storm blow, it actually pushes the eagle higher into the air and it soars above the storms. In fact, eagles can fly higher and faster during a storm than they can on their own. And when you wait upon the Lord, you'll be able to soar like an eagle over the storms of life. When the winds of adversity blow against you, they will not pull you down. They will push you higher. Number two, you will run in the rush of life. I hate running. Anybody ever tried running? Yeah, like for more than a minute. It's the hardest thing ever, right? It's absolutely terrible. Running is the only thing that the entire time I'm doing it, my brain is screaming at me, telling me to stop, right? The moment I was like, I'm gonna go for a jog, and my mind is like, stop it. Nobody is chasing after you. You don't need to do this. I'm like, you're right. I don't need to do this. This run will now be a walk, right? Running is the worst. You know, somewhere in Africa right now, there is a gazelle waking up thinking, if I cannot run faster than the fastest lion, I'll be eaten. In that same place in Africa, there's a lion who wakes up thinking, if I cannot run faster than the slowest gazelle, I'll starve to death. Right? Both the gazelle and the lion wake up running. And we feel the same way sometimes, right? We feel like we wake up and the moment our alarm goes off, we hit the floor and we are running, right? Because sometimes you got to run to get it done, right? And when you wait on the Lord before you run, no, you will be able to run and not grow weary. You will have supernatural stamina to be able to run through those busy seasons of life. And number three, you'll be able to walk in the routine of life. And I think this is where most people get in trouble. I think most people do a good job, you know. They're able to soar through adversity and trials when they come their way. When they hit those busy seasons of life, right, they're able to muster up the strength to run. But it's the daily routine of life that just grinds them. And when you wait upon the Lord, you'll not only be able to soar through the storms of life and surge through the busy seasons, but you'll have the strength to move forward day in and day out. You'll have supernatural strength to meet the demands that are placed on you every single day as you wait upon Him. If you guys would please bow your heads, close your eyes. If you're here today and you don't have a relationship with God, I want to give you the opportunity to do that right now. Every head is bowed, every eye is closed. God gave His one and only Son, Jesus Christ, who died on a cross for our sins, was buried, and 3 days later He rose again so that by believing in Him, you could be forgiven. You could have a fresh start. You could enter into a relationship with God. And so if you're here today and you're ready to make that decision, you say, I want to surrender my life to Jesus. If that's you, would you just slip your hand up in the air so I know who I'm praying for today? Thank you. I see that hand over there. Thank you. Anyone else here today? Just lift the hand up in the air. Thank you. Thank you. I see those hands over there. Thank you. That entire group over there. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. God, I pray right now for those who lifted their hands in this moment, God, who are acknowledging that they need you, that their goodness isn't enough, God, to earn a relationship with you, that they are choosing to trust in you, Jesus Christ, and what you have done on the cross, that they're putting their faith in your death, burial, and resurrection. God, I thank you that as they call out to you, as they look to you today, God, they're receiving salvation. They're receiving forgiveness, grace, and redemption in their life. And God, I pray that you would fill them with your spirit to overcome the challenges that they are up against in Jesus' mighty name. Amen and amen. Can we put our hands together for those who made decisions to follow Jesus? We are so excited for you and that decision that you made. We'd love for you to stop by our welcome desk, which is just right outside these doors. We have a book that we want to give you called Fresh Start, just to help you get started in this journey. If you guys would please stand to your feet, I want to pray over you very briefly because I went over today and you got to get out of here. So our prayer team is here. If you need prayer for anything at all, we would love to pray with you and believe God for anything that you need prayer for in your life. Let's pray. God, I pray, God, that before we do anything else, God, we would truly wait upon you, that we would look to you, that we would trust in you, that we would linger in your presence, God, that whenever we feel the weight, the stress, the pressures of life, God, that we would stop turning to these self-destructive things that don't reduce it, that don't relieve it, that actually only increase it and make our lives worse. That instead of turning to those things, God, we would turn to you and experience the strength and the power that comes from your presence. And that as we wait upon you, God, that we will be able to mount up with wings like eagles, that we will run and not grow weary, and that we will walk and not faint, because we're not soaring and running and walking in our own strength. But God, we are bound together with your strength and your power. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. Have a fantastic Sunday. Get out of here. God bless you.